things I always wanted from life. When I grew up, I wanted to be an actress, and I wanted to be a mom. Let's go back to April 19th, 1986. I came home from school at 10 years old, going to the bathroom because I had a stomach ache. It wasn't a stomach ache, it was my first period. I was so excited, I called my dad at work. I was like, Dad, you're gonna be a grandpa. Because that's all I ever thought of. My sister was into Barbie dolls. I was into Cabbage Patch Kids. I was into babies. I wanted to be a mom. Well, fast forward to when I'm around 16, 17, and my period was either gone for months or I'd have it for months at a time. So my mom, of course, being a good mother, took me to the doctor to get checked out. And I was told as a teenager that I would never be able to have kids. That I had polycystic ovarian syndrome and my ovaries were completely covered in cysts. And it would be pretty impossible for me to have kids. Now, those people that know me know that dye, as long as it's not illegal, never takes no for an answer. No means not right now. I inherited that from my dad. My dad put his mind to something, and he did it. That's exactly how I am. So years and years went on. I never got pregnant. I gave up. But still, I have that thing where, like, be Delulu until it comes true Lulu. And I was like, I'm gonna be a mom. It's gonna happen. So I moved to Rhode Island to live with my parents again. Felt like a loser because, like, 30-something years old, moving in with your parents again. But whatever. And dating was, like, non-existent. It seemed like Rhode Island guys weren't into fat girls, like guys in Jersey were. So I was, like, really, like, I was bitter. I was, like, angry. But I'm like, you know what? I'll sign up for OkCupid. I made a bullshit profile talking about how I'm scared of squirrels and, like, anything other than making me look like I'm dateable. And I still got, like, I still got replies. People I ignored like 98% of these people because they're all like, oh, you look fun. Oh, you look fun, which is, it's code for you look like a slut. Yeah. And that wasn't me. Until one day I got one from a guy whose profile seemed just as ridiculous as mine. He had a balloon animal hat. And what he replied was, what's so scary about squirrels? That to me was like, this guy read my profile. I'm gonna give him a chance. So we chatted, we were messaging back and forth. I was walking around with a smile on my face like a fool. And I was like, why is this guy making me smile? I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I'm smiling? And we decided to go out. I go to our first date, and he's sitting there finishing his sandwich because he didn't even wait for me to get there. At that, usually, like, guy would be like, okay, and leave. But, like, when I saw his face through the window at AS220, and he looked so happy to see me, I was like, I'm gonna give this loser a chance. So, like, I was like, even if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna give him the best date of his life, and I made a friend. I come home from that date telling my mom, I met my husband. I'm gonna marry this guy. We go out for 2 more dates. He came home on the 3rd date, and it's been almost 13 years and he still hasn't left. And we did end up getting married exactly 5 months from our first date. And surprise of all surprises, I was pregnant. But and I told everybody, I was so happy, I was so innocent then and blind to pregnancy loss and how hard it is to actually have a kid. And I lost the first baby. This was before we got married, like a couple of weeks before we got married, which is what led to us getting married. He woke up one day and he's like, I don't want you to think of October as a bad month. Let's get married. So we went and told my mom we were going to Target, and instead we went to the courthouse in North Providence, and we got married on my grandmother and my grandfather's birthday. Aww. And it was 12 years this October. After that, I started regretting the fact that I wasn't going to wear a princess dress. But I didn't say anything. But I was like, I need my wedding. And as you guys already know, Di doesn't take no for an answer as long as it's not illegal. And she gets what she wants. So we go on our honeymoon. I was pregnant on our honeymoon. We came back from Las Vegas, and I lost that pregnancy as well. So we were like, obviously I can get pregnant. So we went to a fertility clinic. I got all kinds of tests. We both got genetic tests. There was nothing wrong with us. And all the cysts were gone. So that was telling me, like, this is meant to be. Like, if I had cysts to the point that my ovaries were deformed and they're gone, like, it's meant to be that I'm gonna have a baby. So we started planning our church wedding in 2012, and I was pregnant again. We, in the Catholic Church, we had to take marriage classes, and the day after we graduated from the marriage classes, I woke up at 20 weeks pregnant, and my water broke. So my mom and my husband rushed me to the hospital at 8 a.m. Charles Francis Sullivan was born into heaven on September 24th, 2012. I still have my wedding coming up on our first anniversary. I was so depressed. You don't know this, but a couple days before the wedding, I walked out of my house ready to jump into the ocean and just end it. But then something told me, like, no, this isn't you. You don't quit. You never quit. You've gone through so much and you've always gotten past it. So I turned back around and walked back home. We had our wedding. It was beautiful. The first trauma-free wedding I've ever seen in my life. It was absolutely gorgeous. My mom decorated our cake. My brother and my sister-in-law had their first kiss at our wedding. Like, I was getting along with my mother-in-law. Like, it was perfect. So we decided, let's wait a year. Let's give my body rest. Let's wait a year after Charlie. So in late 2023, I found out I was pregnant again. Was a little quieter about it. I only told a few people. I was really feeling, I was scared, but I was feeling optimistic. Well, and my sister-in-law was pregnant as well. Both of us pregnant with little girls. My niece was actually born 10 years ago tomorrow. And we were both planning our daughters and everything. In February of 2014, I was at 2014, I was at work and I felt that I lost my mucus plug. So I was taken to the ambulance. I'm like, lightning can't strike twice, like what's going on. I'm at the hospital and they're telling me I'm 3 centimeters dilated already. I was only 20 weeks pregnant again. And I was like, well, it's gotta be my cervix. It's gotta be that my cervix is incontinent. Give me a cerclage, which is when they give you a stitch so that the baby doesn't come out. And I heard that there's progesterone shots. Give me those. They fought me against them. I'm like, even if it doesn't help, is it gonna do something wrong to me? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, then give them to me. And I fought, and I got the stitch. I got the progesterone shots. I still had like a feeling of like doubt. And at 24 weeks, I was having back pain. And my mom took me to the hospital. I had a pretty bad infection. I had 103 fever. And my daughter's heartbeat was erratic. My husband and my mom were like, she's at viability, take the baby out. And they're like, no, we can't do that, blah, 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 blah. We'll just check her heartbeat every 2 hours. Well, between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. on March 28th, 2014, my daughter passed away. And I had to call my husband. My mom had stayed with me in the hospital, and I had to call my husband and let him know. And later that evening, my daughter Cecilia Jo Marie Sullivan was born to heaven on March 28th, 2014. I still was like, I'm gonna become a mom. It's gonna happen. I just know what's going on, and I'm gonna fight, and it's gonna happen. Well, the fight was a little harder because she died of an infection, and also I have an issue with my blood where I clot. She also had, her placenta was 25% covered by a blood clot. And I had blood clots in my legs. I couldn't walk after I gave birth to her. I was in a wheelchair. I needed physical therapy to learn to walk again. None of that deterred me. In fall of 2014, in November, my husband and I went to Canada to watch Damien Rice, who's my favorite singer in the world. And as we're leaving Canada, I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if we're smuggling a little Cuban out of Canada? Because I'm a quarter Cuban, and my mom and I had smuggled a Cuban mango a few years before. So it would be really funny if we're smuggling this little tiny Cuban out of Canada. Like, I'm a smuggler. Yeah. We laughed, ha ha ha. Then Thanksgiving came along, and I'm sitting there with my niece on the couch, and she starts kissing my belly out of nowhere. I'm gonna take a test. So I took a test, very quiet about it, didn't tell anyone. It was positive. I told my husband, I told him don't tell anybody, because I learned that, which I don't blame them, a lot of women that go through loss become bitter and they become jealous. And some of them wish harm on other pregnant women. So I was like, I'm gonna keep this a secret. I'm not gonna tell anybody. This is gonna be our secret. I'm gonna announce the baby once they're born. So fast forward to December 24th of 2014, I go to my first ultrasound, and they're asking me all these questions like, are you sure that it was, like, it's just an empty sac? I was like, no. It ruined my Christmas, but since we had told that we had promised that we weren't gonna tell anyone, we had that in our minds. But a week later, on New Year's Eve, I went for another ultrasound, and there was the little heartbeat. I told my mom, my husband knew, and my job knew. I fought for the stitch. I asked for the shots, and they said yes this time. We had his name picked out, Peter Damien after the Damien Rice concert that he was a souvenir from. And what I did differently this time, I was in a wheelchair because my body doesn't like being pregnant. I was already getting ready for labor at 8 weeks pregnant. So I was on bed rest and I was in a wheelchair. And from what I learned, I didn't want to get another infection, so I refused every single type of internal exam. I'm like, if I'm not bleeding, if I'm not leaking, if I'm not this, you're not checking me internally. And everything had to be done externally or not done at all. In early August of 2015, I got the stitch removed. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. I guess it's gonna happen. So I posted a belly pic. I finally told the world I was pregnant. People were amazed. Some people were scared. Like my aunts and uncles, they were all afraid. Like, oh my God! Like, I'm like, I'm due in like 3 weeks. So I go to August 13th, 2015. I go to get induced. The nurse runs in and she actually scared me, but she ran in to hug me because it was the same exact nurse that was there when I lost my daughter. She was so excited to see that I was there at almost 40 weeks pregnant, ready to have my baby. I was on FaceTime with my sister, and she's like, "Are you sure you're in labor? Because you're such a crybaby." And I'm like, yeah, they're saying I'm having contractions like every few minutes, and I don't even feel it. My sister's like, "Wow, you're a badass," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, the baby's coming." And we got off the phone. I don't remember most of it because I had been on blood thinners and everything, so I almost passed away. When I came through and they put my son on me and he immediately peed on me, it was the most amazing feeling in the world. I had finally done it. I was a mom. I finally did it. And he's everything I ever wished for. I wanted a little dark, blonde, curly-haired little boy that looked exactly like me. And that's exactly what I got. And he's going to be 9 this year. Oh. Woo! The whole point of the story is don't give up. You may get no's. You may get maybes. You may have horrible things happen to you. But if it's meant for you, it's going to happen. Thank you.